I'm Mike Garrity and welcome to another 3 Wide Life. You know we love our grassroots racing, but what we love even more is when one of our favorite grassroots drivers makes it to the big stage. Enter Ricky Stenhouse. See, he started at a young age with a motor builder father and a pure desire to win. And now every single weekend he's at the top of his game in the Sprint Cup Series. So our very own Natalie Sather sat down with Ricky to find out what decisions did he have to make along the way, what sacrifices and what advice would he give up-and-coming drivers. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Ricky Stenhouse's ride from grassroots racing to the Sprint Cup Series, exclusively on 3 Wide Life.
I'm here with two-time Nationwide Series point champion and 2013 Sprint Cup Rookie of the Year, Stenhouse Jr., which is a name we're hearing more and more nowadays. Ricky, tell me how you got started in racing.
It goes a while back. I mean, I'm only 26, and I've been racing for 20 years now. My dad grew up, around race cars. He didn't start racing until he was about 22, so he raced, and then I started going to the racetrack. I was 6 weeks old, going to the dirt track, watching him, and working on the cars and helped clean them. And so I just grew up around it, and I haven't stopped going to the racetrack ever since. And it's just something that I fell in love with, that I always wanted to do. And I don't really ever guess that I thought I would be doing it at this level for a living, but I wanted to do something in racing, and so I started racing go-karts when I was 6, and haven't stopped.
Your dad builds motors. Is that something he did while you were growing up, or how did he get into doing that?
Yeah, that's really where he started. He started working at Racing Head Service, and I think when he was 21 or so, and didn't start racing until he was 22. But he grew up from then on just working in the shop, working on engines and building them. So from the time I can remember, he built engines out of the garage behind the house, and so I would go out there while he was working on them, and he built all of his own engines. He built some for other guys, and then the business kept growing, and now he builds quite a few engines. But I grew up in the engine shop, tearing them down with him. He never wanted me to learn how to put them together because he said he didn't want me to work that hard for a living. So he works, I would say on average about 16 hours a day at the shop. So he puts a lot of hard work in.
How did that help you progress through your racing career?
We didn't have a ton of money to just go out and race by ourselves. So, him building engines for other guys, and then him having connections with a lot of the engine parts that we used. We got deals on our engine parts, and then obviously he was able to put them together. And then also a guy that he built engines for forever, and then he drove for some, Shorty Chambliss. I drove for him, when I first started racing sprint cars in 2003. So that was a huge help for us, and really got us going.
You grew up racing sprint cars like you just mentioned, and you actually ran a lot of USAC. What made you pursue, because you started in the wing sprint cars, what made you pursue non-wing versus like going with the World of Outlaws?
Well, I grew up around all wing cars, and that's what I really enjoyed racing. And I dreamed of racing on the World of Outlaws tour. In 2006, we had it kind of set up. We were planning to go World of Outlaw racing, and then some sponsorship fell through, and so we didn't go. But then 2006 turned into a good year. We won a lot of races. I went up through Ohio Sprint Week and won a lot of races up there. And then the following year, an opportunity came after winning out in Manzanita, a USAC race, the Silver Crown and Sprint cars. An opportunity came up to race for Tony and his USAC team. So it was just an opportunity that presented itself, and that I couldn't turn down, because I was going to get to run asphalt and run non-wing sprint cars for the whole year, not out of Dad's pocket. So that was a huge help. So that's the reason why we went USAC racing.
Your family helped you out financially, like we talked about a little bit, but your determination, your track performance helped you move up through the ranks. Was it Tony that helped you the most in your dirt track days, or who would you say helped you the most back then?
Man, there's so many people that helped us out. I would say, the biggest thing is my dad. He made me work on the race cars. If I wanted to go to the racetrack on the weekend, There was no, taking a day off during the week and going and hanging out with my friends. If they wanted to hang out with me, they had to come over to the shop. And so he made me get everything ready, and he taught me that, it takes a lot of hard work to get what you want and to, reach goals that you've set. So I would say early on, he taught me a lot, and that's where all the hard work came from. And then Shorty Chambliss is a guy that I first started driving sprint cars for, and then, it turned into, in 2007, I raced for Roger Johnson and RE Technologies Silver Crown car, and that's where I went out to Manzanita, got a really big win there, and then that propelled me to run for Tony in 2007. And I would say Tony's a huge help to getting me to where I am here at Roush Fenway. He was able to talk to Jack and give me some good talks with Jack. So he's the one that really helped me get over to stock car racing, and so that was a huge help.
Adversity is the norm when you're trying to make it in professional motorsports. So what adversity did Ricky Stenhouse face when he was climbing the ranks on the way to the Sprint Cup Series?
We recently sat down with Tony Stewart, actually, and he's had a big impact on your career. And he made a reference to you crashing a lot, but you also had success throughout that. We'll call it like win it or wear it. People doubted you a little bit. How did you deal and overcome with those that doubted you early on?
Yeah, that happened a lot in USAC in 2007. It also happened a lot, in my nationwide career in 2010. And I would talk to Tony, and throughout 2007, he would call us after we won, and and then he would take our cars that we crashed and throw them in his pond. So he's got a lot of my cars. He said there's a lot of good fish around my cars. But we were always fast, and I think that was the thing that Tony enjoyed. Knowing that we have a chance to win every week, and then so coming over here to the nationwide side, when we struggled a lot, Jack believed in me. Even though he made me work in the body shop, he never doubted whether I could do it or not. And my crew chief Mike Kelly was the same way, and they always said they would rather try to slow somebody down that's trying too hard than trying to speed somebody up. So it was really tough because a lot of people, especially back home, didn't think I was gonna make it, and then we were able to win Rookie of the Year that year, and then turn it into 2 championships later.
Racing is such a family-oriented sport, and they say that your racing teammates or your bosses, they become like family. How much of a family member to you has Jack Roush became, and how influential has he been through those hard times with you?
He's been great. He gets along with my dad great. He loves my dad. He loves my whole family. And my dad's dad passed away in 2005, and he used to go to the racetrack with us all the time. And him and Jack remind me of each other. So it's been really cool to have Jack as a owner. He's really dedicated. He's at the shop. He's at the meetings. He's at the racetrack during practice, and he's always coming over asking if you need anything. And he's somebody that I look up to, and I can call him for anything. So it's been really neat to kind of have him fill that void of not having my granddad around. So it's pretty cool.
That's really neat. So after that year that you went on to win 2 nationwide championships, what finally clicked that everything fell into place? Was it your crew chief change like you discussed, or was it the conversations, finally something happened? What was it?
Well, I think a lot of it was just seat time. We had speed. When Mike Kelly came on, I think 5 or 6 races into 2010, and we found a lot of speed, and we were fast. We just weren't finishing. So, we just finally kept getting seat time, and I quit pushing the car to the limit. I didn't keep pushing the car to the limit. I quit pushing the car to the limits every lap, and made sure that. I always told Jack, and he always tells this story, as I came up to him, and I told him, I said, Jack, I think I finally figured it out. I said, in the nationwide car, you don't have a lot of horsepower, so you want to get in the throttle as soon as you can. I said, but I think we're finishing now because I go to the throttle when I know I can make the corner instead of going wide open hoping I make the corner. And he always tells that story, so he always thought that was pretty funny. So that was one thing that I figured out. But we just got in the groove, and we had the new nationwide cars that were coming out, and we had 4 races of those that season in 2010, and ran really well with those. And then we ended 2010 strong, and so we were really looking forward to 2011.
Ricky Stenhouse didn't bring a bucket full of cash to get his ride. So how hard was it convincing Jack Roush to invest in his unproven success?
Today it's very rare to see a driver make it to the top ranks of NASCAR on pure raw talent alone. A lot of these, guys coming up in the ranks, come with sponsorship. How hard was it to prove that you have just the talent alone to make it to the top ranks?
It's tough. I would say, looking back through some of the guys that I raced sprint cars with, and looking at it now, there's a lot of talented, race car drivers, and especially in the ranks that I drove in, the sprint cars. I would say I was almost one of the last to, there for a while. There was a lot of people coming into this sport of NASCAR, and sponsors were easy to get, it seemed like, and they're still not hard to. They're still hard to get, and it's still playing a role. Whether we're looking for sponsorship for our Cup team right now, but it means a lot to for Jack. He stood in. He ran me unsponsored, half the seasons, and really put a lot of money out of his pocket into me. But it feels good that he believed in me, and the things that I learned from my dad, and he was a great race car driver himself. So the things that I got from him, it's really cool to see that got me to where I am today.
Throughout your growing up through the ranks and everything, we didn't really hear much about Ricky Stenhouse's personal life. How much of an adjustment has it been to have a unique relationship in the spotlight, and how do you balance that with your career?
It was actually a little easier than I thought it was going to be. It really wasn't too bad after we got past Daytona. Daytona felt like chaos there for a little bit. We had a few run-ins on the racetrack, which I didn't think we would have. I mean, heck, we haven't had any, since she started racing in NASCAR series with us in the nationwide side. So, but we both, got past it. Like I said, we had a few quiet ride homes, but I learned to apologize pretty quick.
Growing up, you're one of the most competitive drivers I've probably ever known, and she seems pretty competitive too. What's your attitude when you win? Are you a sore loser? How does that work?
We compete in everything. I try to keep her going to things that I know I can win at. Like, I'll take her golfing. I golf a lot, and she just started. If we had a cook-off, she would definitely beat me. She's really good at cooking. But I haven't taken her to the go-kart track yet because I know she was a really good go-kart racer, and I just haven't taken her there yet. So she likes to do a lot of trash talking while we're on the golf course, whether she's winning or not. So it's been really fun, and it's we obviously were going against each other for Rookie of the Year, and we didn't really talk about it much, other than we said we were both going to get to go to the banquet somehow, some way. So that was fun.
Ricky doesn't mind standing out. He has a certain style that's all his own at the racetrack. So where did the cowboy look come from that he's become so famous for?
Well, besides being a race car driver, I'm going to call you a cowboy, and you're an avid country music fan. You make a statement showing up at the racetrack in a cowboy boots and a hat. Where did that all stem from?
I grew up wearing cowboy boots. My dad, everybody wants to be just like their dad. Every time we went somewhere, Dad would have his cowboy boots on. He always wore them to church, and so I had to have them. And I didn't really grow up on a farm or anything. I grew up in the race shop. I didn't have time to go do anything else. But so I always had the boots. And then we started talking one day. I can't remember where I was, and I was like, I'm just gonna start wearing cowboy hats to the racetrack. I've always wanted to wear one. I always wore the boots. I just never wore any, the cowboy hats. And So now we got a company out of, it's odd, they're out of New Jersey. They build all my cowboy hats. They've been in the business for about 100 years now. So Saratelli's been building all my hats this year, and Tony Lama supplied me with all the boots, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I didn't grow up on the ranch or anything, but I do have some property now, and at some point, I'm gonna fill it up with some cattle.
You've also stayed true to your roots of sprint car racing, and you have a sprint car team. How did that all come together, and why did you choose Jason Johnson as your driver?
Jason was somebody I met when I was really young. My uncle built some of his race car chassis. I was probably 8 or 9 when I first met him, and I thought he was really good. And this was obviously before I was racing sprint cars, and then when I started racing sprint cars, he was still one to beat, especially in the 360 series that I would race in throughout the country. And when I got over here to NASCAR, we still kept in touch, and when I'd go to the races, I'd go out and kind of hang out with him. And then he approached me about becoming kind of a partner in his team that he had just formed the year prior, and I thought it was a great opportunity. And I liked the way he ran his race team, and I always thought it looks like a World of Outlaw team that runs, in the lower division. He takes the time to look at every single little detail, and I like that about him, and in the way he presents his team, at the racetrack. So that was one thing I liked. And when I quit driving sprint cars and I go back and watch these sprint car races, he drives really similar to how I used to drive. And so when my dad always said, and people always said that I made him nervous out there while I was racing, he kind of does that same thing, when I watch it. So I have a lot of fun watching him, and he's been really successful. We've won some championships and a lot of races, and it's been a lot of fun.
Being as busy as you are, how involved are you with the sprint car team?
Not as much as you would think I would want to be. Well, obviously the shop's in Missouri, and all the racing is not really around here. I think Danica will tell you, I make her watch all the races that are on the computer, so we watch all of them, and I'm staying up late at night, especially the West. When they're on the West Coast, it's really tough when I'm on the East Coast trying to stay up to watch the finishes of these races. But I keep up with it as much as I can. The day-to-day stuff Jason takes care of, and that's what I thought I really liked about his team, and is he's able to take care of everything and run it and drive it, and he's been really successful.
Now that Ricky's made it to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, are there any plans for him to go back grassroots racing in sprint cars? Let's find out.
We've seen Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, a couple of these guys that have moved up get back in a sprint car. Are we ever going to see you back in a sprint car?
Yeah, we didn't this past year. The year before we ran, 6 or 7 times, and I would like to get back in a little more often. Tony didn't really help my calls there. There's nothing in my contract that says I can't, but Jack just asked politely he would rather me not for a little bit. I told him I'd give him a little while. I would stay out of it, but I don't think I can stay out of it too long. So I really enjoy racing sprint cars, and that's something that I do miss a lot. And but I do get, being a part of a team, it gives me a lot of excitement just going to watch. So I never thought that I would have that, going to watch, but I do enjoy it.
You've had a lot of success in racing, and after your first year in Sprint Cup, winning Rookie of the Year, what other accomplishments and achievements do you want? What is left on your bucket list to accomplish in racing?
We won Rookie of the Year this year, but I wouldn't say this year was a success by any means. So, I want to win races. I want to contend for championships, win championships for Jack. He's got 2 Sprint Cup championships, and I want to add to that, especially with everything that he's done for me so far, and everything that Ford's done for me. I want to be here contending for wins and championships for a long time, and that's really all I want to do. I don't care about doing anything else really. other than that. So hopefully we can start that in 2014, and I'm really excited about the team that we have assembled this year, and getting back with my crew chief Mike Kelly. I think it's going to be a fun year, and hopefully we can start the next chapter of my time here at Roush Fenway.
Well, Ricky, thank you for letting us come by, and we wish you the best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
That's it for another 3 Wide Life. Thank you so much to Roush Racing and Ricky Stenhouse for allowing us to learn more about Ricky's journey. As always, make sure you're checking in on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our website, where we are constantly updating with behind the scenes and in the garage content. And until your next race, keep on living the 3 Wide Life.